dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew? It's your boy DJ New Kid, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
Back on the channel, man. We got more Mr. Ballen for y'all, man. We got shocking police footage taken inside this container. So you're right. Yes, sir. Yes,
I wonder what
ma'am.
this one about, though.
You're wondering, huh? Inside of a container? What type of container?
Right. Oh.
With that being said, man, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want the first part, all you have to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
Like it with a thumbs up.
we appreciate it, man. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this one. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm ready. My voice going out, but yeah, I'm ready.
Today's story includes some of the most dramatic police footage I've ever seen in my life. So if you're on the fence about watching today's upload, I would encourage you to stick around just for that. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once or twice every week. So if that's of interest to you,
I'm sorry. Are you okay?
The lid went on. You can press play.
Okay.
The lid went on.
please draw a gun on the like button and force them to retie your untied shoelaces right after you've stomped around inside of a bathroom of an outdoor music festival. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story. In 2015, 29-year-old Johnny Coxey and his wife, 25-year-old Megan Coxey, were living in a low-income section of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Sorry. You like, why you taking your
I'm like,
notes?
you better take your notes so I can make sure that I'm...
My bad. You just told you can re-reference my notes.
I be remembering things, but I just,
My bad, bro. The container, the lid went on, right? This is just all...
Got your mind discombobulated.
This is just all horrible. We ain't gonna stop it. We ain't gonna restart now. We gonna go ahead and continue, man. Dang. Sorry.
In 2015, 29-year-old Johnny Coxey and his wife, 25-year-old Megan Coxey, were living in a low-income section of Spartanburg, South Carolina. They both struggled mightily with drug addiction to the point where it was nearly impossible to get steady work, and so they often found themselves out on the streets begging for money. Their addictions also made it nearly impossible to be a good parent to their only child. And in fact, in December of that year, Child Protective Services stepped in and took their child away from them. And if that wasn't bad enough, almost immediately after their child was taken from them, both Megan and Johnny were arrested and thrown in jail for various offenses that were connected to their drug habits. So Johnny and Megan are at absolute rock bottom at this point as they're sitting in jail, but they were about to get a big break. After they both got out of jail, they were only in jail for a couple of days, Megan was contacted by a local, very successful real estate agent named Todd Colehep. Todd was someone she had met previously when she used to be a waitress at a local diner, and Todd was reaching out to her to somewhat unbelievably offer her and her husband pretty decent paying jobs. Apparently, Todd had recently purchased this massive 95-acre plot of land in the area, and he needed people to come onto the property and help clean it up and clear brush and clean some of the buildings that are on there because his plan was to further develop this property. And so he had been reaching out to other people in Spartanburg to see if they were interested, and Megan and her husband were two people he had contacted. And so, of course, Megan and Johnny say, yes, we would love to do this job. They were in desperate need of cash, and paying jobs did not come around very often. So on December 19th of that year, Megan spoke to her mother and told her about this job opportunity and where it was and what she'd be doing. And then she and Johnny made their way out to this property. And when they got there, they saw this huge chain link fence wrapped around what seemed like a massive forest. And this forest was the 95-acre plot of land that Todd owned. And so apparently at the center of this forest were a few buildings that Johnny and Megan would be responsible for cleaning. And so they made their...
How we before?
Hmm?
Have we heard this story before? Because I want to say I kind of know what's going to happen. I don't know if I heard about it before.
Now, I know, let me tell you this. I know about a story. I can't remember where I heard about where it was pertaining to a container. Like this big.
Or did we, has this been?
You know what I'm talking about? But I don't know if this is the same story because I don't remember none of this other stuff.
I don't remember none of it until we got to the container part. Like, no.
No, we haven't, like.
Did Mr. Ballen.
Yeah.
But I feel like.
But I feel like we know about somebody. I don't know if this is the same story.
Did we watch it on a movie or a show or something? Sorry. I swear I feel like deja vu. My bad.
Before us were a few buildings that Johnny and Megan would be responsible for cleaning. And so they made their way down the fence line until they found the break in the fence, and that led to an access road, and they began driving down it deep into the heart of this forest. 3 days later, Megan's mother tried to get in touch with her, but she couldn't. And when she reached out to Johnny, she couldn't get in touch with him either. And so given the couple's history with drugs, Megan's mother thought the worst, that, maybe they overdosed. And so she panics and she rushes to Megan and Johnny's house. They're not there. And so something in her gut tells her that something is wrong here. It's not common for them to just completely go off the grid. And so she called the police. The police began their investigation by speaking to Todd Colehep, who was the owner of this property, because presumably he was one of the last people to see them before they went missing. But when they spoke to Todd, he said, look, I had limited interaction with them. They were on my property. They came out, they cleaned these 2 buildings on my property, and then I paid them and they left. And we haven't had any contact since. So, unfortunately, I don't have a clue where they would have gone next. And so at this point, the police decide their best bet is just to wait and see what happens. Although they did not tell Johnny or Megan's families this, the police force did have a running suspicion that, it was possible, if not likely, that the couple had used the money from cleaning up this property to go buy drugs, and then they went on a drug binge, and they would either turn up in a couple of days alive or dead from an overdose. But a couple of days went by, and the couple did not reemerge, and no one had any idea where they were. And then a couple of weeks went by, and then a couple of months went by, and it wasn't long before the case went cold. But it would not stay cold for very long. On August 31st, 2016, so roughly 8 months after the Coxies were reported missing, 2 more residents of Spartanburg went missing as well. They were 30-year-old Kayla Brown and her boyfriend, 32-year-old Charlie Carver. The pair had only been dating for about a month, but they were becoming quite serious.
Now, I remember them.
I remember
these folks. But I don't think we...
Was it a Lamont joint? It possibly
was one of his. Yeah, it possibly was. I just know that it wasn't Mr. Ballen. We didn't do a reaction or nothing to it, but we have watched it. But soon he said they now. I said yeah.
I just seen them 2.
I've seen them too. I don't remember Megan and Johnny.
But I do. I
don't remember their picture.
It's so freaking bothering to me because I'm like, bruh, I know
it too. I know the case.
I apologize. I apologize,
They gonna be like, these folks crazy.
No. See what it is? We don't like doing stuff that we already have done.
But he may share some information that we don't know.
Like previously before.
Yeah.
None of that information.
32-year-old Charlie Carver. The pair had only been dating for about a month, but they were becoming quite serious, with Charlie already introducing Kayla to his family, a step that Charlie's father said was a very big deal for him. Unlike the Coxies, Kayla and Charlie were not struggling with drug addiction or with financial issues. They were actually pretty well off. Charlie worked full-time operating a printer at a local business, and Kayla made a living by doing odd jobs around town. According to their families, it seemed like the couple was very happy with their lives and the directions they were going. But starting on the evening of August 31st, Kayla and Charlie stopped returning text messages or answering phone calls. Charlie's father was especially close with Charlie, and so this sudden silence was immediately noticed by him, but he kind of ruled it out and thought, you know what, I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for why he's not texting me back, and so, I'll hear from him over the next couple of days. But over the next couple of days, Charlie continued not to answer text messages or pick up phone calls, same with Kayla, and so after 48 hours of this total silence, Charlie's father finally hopped in his car and drove to his son's house to see if he was there, and he wasn't. And then he drove to Kayla's place, and she wasn't there either. And so none of it made any sense, and so he called the police and he reported them missing. The police started with absolutely no leads, and so what they did to begin their investigation was basically just to interview everybody in Charlie and Kayla's life. Friends, family, acquaintances, employers, co-workers, everyone, but no one had any idea where this couple had gone to. They had not told anyone about some trip they were going on or something they were going to do. It just seemed like they had vanished. And so initially, this investigation really got nowhere. But 2 months after they had been reported missing, the police finally obtained a search warrant that would allow them to look at their respective cell phone records. And when they looked at Kayla's cell phone records, they were able to triangulate roughly where her last known location was, according to pings her cell phone was sending off to nearby cell phone towers. And they discovered her last known location, at least of her cell phone, was inside of the same 95-acre plot of land that the Coxies had been in before they went missing. And so
95 acres is a lot
Baby,
of
that's what
land,
you
bro.
said.
And that's a lot of land for somebody who, if they want to do some evil shit, think about it. 95 acres. Like, that's... You know
And is
what I
it
mean?
clear? Like, is it like what's
That's
like?
another
is it clear?
thing.
Is it a lot of trees? Is it a lot going on? Because what's his name? Todd. You had people come to help you clean it up. So what condition was it in? What did it look like?
Is it one of those where you get a lot of random stray people come on your property, they littering and dirtying up your property, so you constantly have to clean it up?
Like,
Is it something that's gated off or roped off where people can't come on? So why are you seeking people to come clean it? Like, what type of condition? Is it like a junkyard, or is it a lot of trees? Like,
well, yeah, but Miss Ball said he wanted people to come out there to clean it because he planned to develop it. Like,
no, I'm saying like trees. As far as, is it a way that some shit can be hid, like, and people can't see
some of the
certain...
junk and the trash
yeah,
and like
yeah.
all of that. So,
Or what was the previous condition when you originally bought the land?
right.
Like,
But yeah,
it's a lot of questions.
95-acre plot of land that the Coxies had been in before they went missing. And so immediately the police put in for a search warrant to go search this 95-acre property, and they sent a team actually out to the property, and they actually set up outside of that big fence and just waited for the search warrant to clear. And at the same time, another group of police officers went to Todd Colehep's house, which was actually in town about 20 minutes away from this property, to talk to him about why in the world Kayla's cell phone would be pinging inside of his property. And so when the police arrive at his front doorstep, Todd is obviously caught off guard by suddenly there being all these police officers. And he does understand very quickly how unbelievably suspicious it looks that now you have potentially two couples that have gone onto his property right before they vanished. And so he says to them, look, I know how this looks, but I gotta tell you, I did hire Kayla and her boyfriend did come along with her. She went onto my property. She did some work for me. She cleaned up some stuff, cleared some brush, and then I paid them, and then they left. That is the last I saw of them. I have no idea why her phone would be on my property. At the same time, the team of police officers were kind of grilling Todd at his house. The other team that was outside of the 95-acre property, they found out their search warrant had been granted, and so they flew through the gate, they got on that access road, and they began bombing into this huge forest. And as they're driving, they pull out their maps they had printed out that showed the rough estimation of where her final location was within this property, and it looked like the last spot was inside of a clearing. And so as they're driving down this access road through all these trees, they see up ahead there is a clearing, and it looks very much like the clearing on their map where this final location is. And when they pull into the clearing, off to the left side of the road are these two green buildings. The left building was like a shed, like something you might keep yard tools in, like lawnmowers and shovels and rakes, that kind of thing. And then right next to it on the right was this metal shipping container, and it had all these metal chains and 5 padlocks keeping it shut. Now, of course, the police are thinking, oh my goodness, is Kayla inside one of these buildings? Because this is probably where her last location was. And so right away, the police went inside of the left building, the shack, because it was easier to get into. There weren't padlocks all over it. And when they got inside, there really was nothing of note. Kayla was not in there. Charlie was not in there. There was no cell phone in there. It was just gardening tools. And so they went over to the right building, the shipping container, and they got out their metal cutting saws and their bolt cutters, and they began cutting into all of these locks and chains. And when they finally got that door open, they were absolutely astounded at what they saw inside.
Hold on now. Let me brace myself before I like. Now I know when you see this.
I know we're not gonna.
I don't know what we might see, but I know we ain't seen this part. So it's, we haven't seen his video. That shit's just crazy, bro. Like,
what?
Because for one, you know what I'm saying, one reason why, you know what I'm saying, the police went to the crib, to his home. For one, to question him, see what he's gonna open up to. 2, to kind of distract him.
That too.
3, to make sure you have eyes on him. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like, all right, if you try to leave, we can follow you. We know you.
Or try to go and cover up some type of,
we know
evidence that we possibly.
Yeah, we can follow you at this point because we know we already got eyes on you.
Right.
If you try to leave, we're gonna keep eyes on you.
Facts.
For one, if you gonna come open up about something, hopefully you go ahead and do it now. Like, you know, or we also got to keep you here so you won't know what's going out there.
Facts.
Because we don't know if you got cameras out there looking, noticing things. This is, 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
So you would easily know if somebody's... you had cameras back then, you know what I'm saying, to see. So, yeah.
Inside.
Get right up on it. Get right up on it. Yes. Pull that one first. All right, let them get ready. Y'all ready? Come on, guys. It's jammed in here. Give me that crowbar back. Where's that? Get that big crowbar in. I need right here. John, put it down here. Yeah, there you go. Watch out. Y'all move.
Whatever in there, he had a hella secure to the point. He don't want nobody to be able to gain easy access into it. Even breaking down the 5 padlocks, you still are struggling to get inside. So you are hiding something.
I got it. Watch out, boss. Hey, Joey. Sheriff's officer. What? Grab that back up there. Just one. Are you okay? Grab what? Go. Do you have any weapons? Coming through, okay?
You said what?
I said, was that a bottle he put down?
I know this is like a...
No, I'm talking about in his hand. I'm like, this is a personal bottle.
Joey. Sheriff's officer. What? Grab that back up there. Just one. Are you okay? Grab what? Go. Do you have any weapons? Coming through, okay? What's your name? Right here. Lauren. Okay. All right. Just a girl. How are you, honey? This is bolt cutters. This is our best. He's a paramedic. Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna get you out of there. Okay. Just hang loose for me. Anybody got? I need a handcuff key.
The police had just discovered Kayla. She was in rough shape, and she had a metal chain wrapped around her neck that was anchored to the wall, and she was handcuffed, but she was alive. And after they cut her free and got her out of the shipping container, she told them what happened. She said back on August 31st, 2016, so this was the same day that Charlie's father had realized his son was not responding to his text messages, and when he was calling Kayla, she wasn't answering either. So on that day, Kayla says she was contacted by a friend of hers, Todd Kohlhepp, up, and he told her that he was still looking for people to come out and help clean up the property because he was getting ready to develop it. And so Kayla, she was looking for work, and so she agreed to do it. And after getting this job, Kayla would tell Charlie, and Charlie, just being a good boyfriend, said, you know what, I'll tag along with you and I'll help you do this job. I won't ask Todd for any money. I'm just gonna go and help you. And so Kayla was totally thrilled about this. And so later that day, she and Charlie, they made their way out to the 95-acre property. They reached that fence that kind of borders the entire property. They followed it until they hit that break in the fence. They hopped on the access road and they began driving into the heart of this very thick forest. And after driving for several minutes, they reached this clearing. And in this clearing, they see Todd up ahead on the left. He's smiling and waving at them. And he's standing in front of the shack and the metal shipping container. And so Charlie pulls the car in right in front of Todd. And then Charlie and Kayla, they get out. They walk up to Todd to, see what he needs, see what he wants them to do. And as soon as the couple is standing in front of Todd, Todd just casually pulls out a gun and shoots Charlie 3 times in the chest. And as soon as Charlie falls to the ground, Todd aims the gun at Kayla and says, if you go anywhere, I will kill you and I will kill your family. And then he put the gun away, walked over to Charlie, and he wrapped him up in a blue tarp, and then he carried his lifeless body and dumped him in the nearby bucket of a tractor. And then Todd just walked back over to Kayla, who's witnessed this entire thing. She is so terrified she can't even move, and she's just staring at Todd. And Todd draws his gun again at her and orders her to go into the shipping container. So he brings her inside, he locks her up, and for 65 days, she would remain his prisoner. And over the course of those 65 days, Todd would once or twice a day come down and do whatever he wanted with her. And he told her at the outset that if she ever tried to resist him in any way and didn't do whatever he wanted with her, he would not only kill her, he would also kill her family. And so Kayla very early on decided she would not put up a fight. She just kind of accepted that this was her life, that she would be horribly mistreated, and then probably at some point he would grow tired of her and kill her, but at least she would be sparing her family. And so when the police finally went into that shipping container, Kayla truly did not expect ever to be rescued. So when you watch that video, you need to understand that was someone who believed she was 100% going to die inside of that space. And so after...
You can tell, too, she looks defeated, you know what I'm saying? Like, she looks like... It's not even like... You can tell she don't have even a demeanor of happiness or joy, or it's like, oh, I'm finally free. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, it's over. Like, you know how fucked up, like, how mentally you have to drain somebody to feel as though it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Just because it's like she's just going with the motions. Yeah. It's like you ain't even here anymore. You know how, like, sometimes... She
probably mentally checked out.
You know how sometimes in life, like, you can just be wandering. Mm-hmm. And you're not even in tune with what the fuck is going on. Just imagine that times 10, mm-hmm. and that's your everyday. You know what I'm saying? Like
65 days. That's crazy.
Crazy. To see your boyfriend get killed like that.
Just, you think you're going out here to do a job. You happy.
Somebody you know already.
Like, he's happy to help you. And then this is someone y'all know. And then you just, like, have no type of just... pull out a gun, shoot him, throw him away like he's just trash, like he's nothing. Like, that's crazy.
Like, how do you get off on some shit like that?
Someone who believed she was 100% going to die inside of that space. And so after Kayla tells the police officers this totally horrible and traumatic story, they immediately radio over to the other team of police officers that were still at Todd Colehep's residence, still talking to him, and they tell them, hey, this is what Kayla just told us. Todd's reaction to this news was also captured on video.
We have Kayla. Excuse me. We have Kayla in your property. She was locked in a container. Okay? She has told us that you shot and killed Charlie. Why did you shoot him?
I didn't shoot anybody, sir.
Okay, why did you lock her in a container in your property?
I understand.
She's on your property right now, locked in a container. She's saying you buried Charlie's body on that property. So you're saying you didn't lock her up, you didn't put her in the Connex box or anything?
I'm gonna need an attorney.
Probably a good thing. Go ahead and put him in the back of your car.
Even though...
This is why I remember this said. The disturbing case of the Amazon review killer. That's why I remember that. BuzzFeed.
Yeah, it was them.
Yeah, I remember hearing about him.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, bro, I know this man. That's what it is. He's an Amazon guy.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
You didn't lock her up. You didn't put her in the Connex box or anything.
No, sir. My money in that attorney.
Probably a good thing. Go ahead and put him in the back of your car.
Even though Todd would initially deny any wrongdoing and would claim he had nothing to do with what happened to Kayla or Charlie, he would eventually confess not only to killing Charlie and kidnapping Kayla, but also to killing Johnny and Megan Coxey. Apparently, he had done to them what he did to Kayla and Charlie. He had lured the Coxeys onto his property on the promise of work, and then when they reached those two structures, he drew a gun and he shot Johnny and killed him, and then he ordered Megan to go inside of the shipping container. Now, unlike Kayla, who would ultimately comply, and it did save her life, Megan did not. She fought back. She was totally resistant. She wouldn't do anything that he wanted her to do. And so after only 5 days of her being in captivity, he would kill her. And the way he would describe her was, oh, you know, she was acting like a wild animal, so I had to put a bullet in the back of her head. He didn't care at all about these people he had killed. Charlie, Johnny, and Megan's bodies would all be discovered in shallow graves right outside of that shipping container. Knowing he was potentially facing the death penalty and wanting to avoid that, Todd told police after he had confessed to these murders that he could actually confess to even more murders, and if he did, could they take the death penalty off the table? And so the police ultimately would agree, and Todd would tell them that back in 2003, he had walked into a motorbike shop and killed 4 of their staff members. Apparently, a couple of days earlier, they had offended him in some way. He had gone in there and they had kind of made some snide remark about how he was bad at riding motorcycles. It was kind of in good fun. It was not meant to be very mean, but Todd had taken it as an absolute offense and he could not stand for it. And so literally in broad daylight, he had walked back into this store and gunned all of them down. And then once they were all down, he had walked by each of them and put an additional round into each of their heads. And so as Todd is telling the police this terrible story, he's totally nonchalant about it. He's laughing about it, and he's even bragging to police that they would be proud of him at how quickly he cleared the superbike shop, meaning how quickly he got in there and killed everyone inside. That somehow, because police officers use weapons too, they would appreciate how efficient he was. These 4 murders would be the only additional murders Todd would confess to, and they would be enough to take the death penalty off the table. But it's believed Todd had killed more people. In fact, he had blatantly admitted to Kayla when she was in captivity that his body count was in the high 2 digits. And most likely he was telling her this because he planned on killing her before she could ever escape and tell anyone. But of course, she was rescued, and so the world now knows. However, if Todd never confesses to any more murders, there's a very good chance we'll never know about them. One of the more disturbing aspects of this case is after it became public that Todd Kohlhepp was the killer, someone discovered that an anonymous account was doing all these product reviews on Amazon, and this anonymous account was Todd Kohlhepp. And the products he was reviewing were things like knives and shovels and chainsaws, and the reviews literally were about how he planned on using these tools to kill people, or they were how he had used these tools to kill people, or how he had disposed of bodies. And then there was also a couple of reviews of padlocks, and one of the reviews said he had 5 of them on a shipping container, and so now the shipping container was just like Hotel California. Hotel California is the famous song by the band The Eagles, and in this song, the famous line is, "You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave." Todd was ultimately sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences, which means he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. So that's going to do it, guys. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already,
That shit is crazy. I knew we had heard this.
And I was about to say, although we have heard the story,
Some details we did not know about.
it was a good bit of details I did not know about. Like,
One detail for sure we didn't know about. We didn't know that he had confessed to 4 of the murders.
didn't know that.
Didn't know that. Possibly didn't know. I
Never-
thought it was just the shipping container stuff.
Yeah. And for some reason, I don't know why I can't remember what you read in the comments.
Yeah, keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left the full-size shovel at home. Does not come with a blanket, which would have been nice. It will be with a quality tool like this. Haven't stabbed anyone yet, but I am keeping the dream alive. And when I do, will be with a quality tool like this. Wow, the chainsaw works excellent. Getting the neighbor to stand while something.
Why you chase? Where we at?
What? I was right here.
Oh, you all the way up there, child.
Getting the neighbor to stand still while you chasing with it is hard enough without having an easy to use chain. Wow, this nigga is crazy, bro. What the fuck is wrong with this dude?
He can't write, but anyway.
He really can't write, though.
He cannot write. I'm like, oh, child, the struggle. But anyway, yeah, a good bit of details I didn't know. Like, some of the details with Megan and Johnny, I feel like I didn't know fully. I remembered.
I remember Kayla and Charlie.
And Charlie. I remember them.
And I remember seeing a photo of her and him.
But I didn't know that soon they got out the car, he like shot.
Yes, I did.
I don't remember that.
Remember though.
For some reason. And then I never seen the review.
I
never seen.
I never understood when they say he was the Amazon serial killer, or I never understood why.
Yeah.
I remember there was like he's an Amazon review, and then he was like he did reviews, and I'm like,
let me ask you a question.
And I didn't understand the details of why, like the involvement of Amazon. But you said ask a question. What?
If you ever like went on Amazon and you read reviews, because I be reading reviews a lot, and you see somebody talking like this, what you like try to like
that shit? That would be weird though.
Would you be like, oh, they just somebody?
Oh no. Nowadays, you don't know. You just don't know. You really don't know nowadays because people do talk in code.
That's so weird.
People have done crazy shit when it comes down to the internet. So you really don't know. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe he has more bodies?
I do. I was just about to say that there's no way that just out of the blue you want people to come and help clean up this property and you take people out. And then 2003, you just walked in a store because of a comment somebody made. You a grown ass man.
So you telling me in 2003
and that hurt you that bad that you want to go.
A lot of grown men got the. Be real. Let's be real.
No,
there's a lot of pussy grown men out there, soft, built just like him, soft and very sensitive. But let me also.
That's a fact.
Let me also say this.
Right.
No, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. One reason why I believe he does have more is because 2003 you walked in easily killed 4 individuals. So you saying you haven't done nothing previously before 2003 because that was too easy, too smooth for you.
Too smooth for you.
And there's a 12-year gap between your next kill. You don't just you've been fiending.
9 times out of 10, if he won't confess, but I'm pretty sure between 2003 and 15, 16, like y'all have probably a lot of cases, maybe cold cases that may just got his name on it. Y'all don't even know.
Missing people that went missing. People that went missing, and people that you don't have any clue what happened to them. 9 times out of 10, Todd is somewhat connected to it. Yeah. Also, he's done something previously before. Mm-hmm. So, also, let me say this. I wonder how he has enough money to be able to buy 95 acres of land. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of land that you want to develop. But that's your excuse to bring people out there on their property to kill. Also looks as though the home was a nice size home. Because South Carolina.
What he did as his occupation.
South Carolina,
Did he say what he did as his occupation?
No, he never said, but I'm saying South Carolina, shit. They do some crazy shit on their properties now. That's factual. If you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But this shit just is mind blowing. Mm-hmm. I would say for sure, what I would have said was you have to admit to every last thing. If we feel as though you are responsible for any other thing, and you're not being 100% honest with us about everything you have done, we would not take the death penalty out the.
Yeah.
And isn't that such a coward move? That you have blatantly killed people without any remorse or regret.
No,
but your big ass sitting up here is afraid to be killed your own damn self.
Facts.
You like, I sit around, but I ain't taking no death penalty.
Right.
But you damn afraid, but you wasn't afraid to take. You talking about, and you braggadocious about it.
I was just about to say that. Then you bragging and telling Kayla like you got whatever.
Not even her.
Oh,
you telling
with them, the police. That was weird. That's the whole situation weird. But I'm just like what? Are we okay?
Situations in South Carolina.
Like, you really sitting up here like, y'all gonna be proud of me. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I laid him down real fast. And he a big motherfucker.
Big as hell. Okay.
Hey.
Very
comparable. Very comparable.
Yeah. As far as size, yeah, most
definitely. Size, the actions was on a big ass property.
But
I'm just saying. But this is a very sad situation.
Most definitely.
You were chopping them off by left and right. And I wonder when Johnny and Megan went out there. Mm-hmm. I wonder, is it Megan or Megan? Because it's Meagan. Because some people say Megan. But I wonder when did she originally was supposed to come out there by herself, and Johnny showed up, and you was like, dang, gotta get rid of Johnny. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess not.
With Kayla, he wasn't expecting Charlie.
Well, I would guess not, right? Because then Megan tell her mom that he called and was like, hey, I got a job for you and were they married to? For you and your husband? Or
I can't remember.
I can't really remember. But if that's the case and she was supposed to come by herself, it's kind of like a thing. I gotta get the men out the way.
Coward.
That's a coward move, most definitely.
He really shows
this power. It's this power trip that you own. You know that you can't do anything.
Getting everybody off guard. You get everybody off of like, hey, you ain't gonna see this coming. Because
never.
Even the four people, they ain't see that coming. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
But yeah, this is a crazy situation, man. Y'all got we have heard about the situation. We didn't know. He did fill us in with a little bit more details. The 4 murders, even the seeing the reviews, even talking more about the previous couple.
Yeah,
we got a little bit more details. But I was like, I know I heard about this before, and seeing that video evidence, we didn't see that before previously either.
Yeah.
So we did get more evidence. More information about this case. Than previously before. What?
No, I was about to say, I have one more thing as to like kind of how or why he like singled them out, like, cause like, you know what I'm saying?
Easy kid, easy. Just somebody easy, somebody vulnerable, taken advantage of. That it was one of those. It ain't no motive. He's a serial killer. Remember, serial killers don't have. Some have motives, some don't. Well, all do. I think it just his thing was he wanted somebody that he already knew that was vulnerable and weak, and possibly he thought as though it was gonna be an easy somebody to get rid of, and nobody really,
I guess I don't know, but yeah, okay.
But again, man, y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it in the comments. But as always, y'all know how it go, man. I do go over the name DJ. This is
Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar,